Alright guys, so we're going to do some file work on the baby bullet here, the jaw. You can see that I'm making use of this handle that I left on there. That was pure luck that I thought of remembering to do that, and because this would be difficult to hold. So I'm using an assortment of files to do this work. A couple of the major ones here. Let's drop it on the ground. This guy here, it's kind of a half round taper job here. There's a name for this one, but I just can't think of it right now. And then the other one that I like a lot is these guys here, and these are these Swiss, they have two different radii on them, so those work pretty good. So they have two curvatures here, two different ones, and then they taper, and that curvature changes, well, it becomes a smaller one at the tip. So these turn out to be real handy. And then the good old round file too. You can get a lot of pressure with a round file, so they cut real fast. So a couple guys asked, they said, hey, why don't you just use a flap wheel on a grinder? And you could do that. On stuff like this where you really want it to come out a certain way, power tools sometimes move too fast, and you run the risk of taking away too much material, and then what happens is you have to take away more material around it to level the playing field, so to speak. So it's better, in my opinion, to work a little slower and with hand tools, and just watch your progress as you go. So anyway, let's do a little bit. We've done this one side here, okay, and so we'll do the, and I did the top and the back here. So we'll work on this side and then underneath here like that, and we'll be flipping it around. So let's do a little bit of that. All right. See what's going on a little better. So this little spot right here, this curve around this is actually one of the tricky little places here. And you can kind of see what this one looks like, right? It's almost elliptical, right? But it's coming off of this edge too. So, you know, because I did a circular cut here, this is, you know, basically almost straight, right? So what I have to do is I have to get a curve in kind of this orientation here, but I also have to have this coming off, you know, kind of at an angle like this, right? A downward angle. So there you can kind of see it there. So you see it slides off this way, but then I have a particular curve around here, right? So this is where you got to go really slow, right? So if you used a die grinder or a flap wheel or a, you know, power sander or whatever, you could blow that away like really easily, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm filing and I'm allowing this to slide off, but it's light pressure and then heavier pressure, boom, and then I slide off, right? So, you know, I'm really hitting that edge. And then I'm looking at that curve as it goes, right? And it's happening, you know, relatively slowly, right? So that I can keep my eye on what's going on. See, you know, I can stop in between strokes and go, ooh, I don't like that, right? And then, you know, make an adjustment. So that's one of the beauties of doing this work by hand, right? So see if we look at it again, right? So what I see here, right, is I need to, yeah, you guys can see that, hit this corner here a little bit. This needs to fall off, you know, kind of in this direction a little bit more. So anyway, it's, you know, one of the things I like, right, is that you're in control. You're in control of it, right? And if you're careful, you can do a pretty nice job, you know? it's not a perfect match, but you're not going to get a perfect match unless you laser scanned this thing and then brought it into a CAD system and cleaned up the point cloud and then got a big block of steel and then a $500,000 machine and yada yada yada. You could certainly CNC your brains out on something like this, but that's kind of automated, right? This, we're just sitting here. You guys are watching me. I'm just talking. We're having a good time. When the camera's not running, I got tunes playing. Got a cup of coffee next to me over here. Might be something in that coffee. Knack, knack, knack. Alright, so I'm starting to like the look of that. So as I start to like it, I kind of let off on the pressure. So now I got major work to do over here. So this is pretty close. So I'm gonna work this edge over here and blend all that stuff together, and then well, take a look at the other. I kind of already did it over here, so get the idea, right? Well, I'm going to take a break. So, doesn't that look like the Sphinx? The Egyptian Sphinx? I was looking at that going, oh, you know what? It looks like the Sphinx. All right, so there's the jaws, and this is that's the fixed jaw, and then this is the moving jaw, and you can kind of see I hit it with some sandpaper after the filing. There's my little. You guys remember I made a little little boo-boo when we were kellering this back curve. Although this thing gets cut off right in here, I figure when I weld that down, I'll just run a little weld across there and then file that. I just didn't do it at this point. So, you know, you can kind of see the end result there. I'm real happy with the way it's coming out. Just to put it in kind of perspective. Let's see. Let's go. Got it flipping around here. Put it in perspective there. That's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's see. You guys can see all that, right? All right. And then I did some work on the body here too to make it more bullet-like. Okay. So you know, this is what we did before. Is we just did kind of a straight conical thing, but the tail end of this, as you can see, is a little more kind of ogive looking there. So I did some work on that, and that little seam right there is that little separate cap piece that goes on the end. So I did that. What's coming up after this is I got some water jet cutting footage. I cut out some little emblems, and I'll show you guys the water jet cutting and then the results from that water jet cutting. So let's check that out.
Where does it retract to the start position? When it's done, it'll stop it.
Ooh, look at that. Sweet. All right, so here we got the what came off of the water jet there. This is 60 thousandths thick 260, number 260 brass, which is kind of a soft, formable brass. And there's what the water jet did. Here's the little pieces that came out of there. And so I just took these are micro tabs here that kind of retain the part in the blank, and I just go in there with a little jeweler saw and nick those off like that. And then these little, in fact, there you can see the little nibbin right there, and then these drop out. Okay, something like that, right? And so what I did is I did a little test and kind of curved one. Okay, and there's the general idea there. It's going to be curved, and then these are a couple little. Let me knock them out here. These little drive rivets here. These little spiral drive rivets for retaining it, and in the other piece. And I did a little test on that too to figure out the right size drill to pilot those through. So that one was too tight, this one was too loose, and that one's just right. It's like the three bears, right? So anyway, that'll get riveted. Actually, it'll get riveted on the tube. It'll get, come on, stay up there, you little weaselly thing. Okay, that'll get riveted on the side of the tube. There it is, kind of an identifier there where the little baby bullet came from. So anyway, that's that.